Hello everyone and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets and drama. So I'm back for another season of Have Your Say videos, and this video is for Global All Stars episode 3. I didn't do videos for episodes 1 and 2 because it was during the time I was sick, but also there were no eliminations in either of those episodes, so there wasn't a huge amount to talk about, so I'm just going to skip straight on to episode 3. So today we're going to be recapping this week's episode, going through the results of the Have Your Say poll, and I'm going to be talking about a little bit of drama to do with backlash to do with this week's elimination and also rigged judging, as well as Gottmik being blackmailed by hackers. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. And just before we get started, if you'd like to join in the fun with the Have Your Say and watch Global All Stars, make sure you check out Paramount Plus, and you can use my link as an official partner, and you'll get a free trial to Paramount Plus so you can watch Global All Stars as well as a mountain of other entertainment. So please make sure you check out the link in the description and the pinned comment. And thank you to Paramount Plus for choosing me as an official partner. So let's start by recapping this week's episode. The queens come back into the workroom and Vanity Vane won last week's challenge and there were no eliminations. And Vanity is saying how happy she is and she's getting emotional. What I thought was so funny is that Tessa Testicle is really giving us the drama this season, and she said that Vanity is crying even though she just earned the 10 mother effing easiest K in her life. And this just goes for Tessa Testicle so far in the competition. She's really giving that kind of Mistress Isabel Brooks or Plain Jane kind of vibe where she knows that she is ruffling some feathers, but she's also making good TV, and she is kind of funny with what she's saying. So at the moment I am quite liking Tessa because I think she's bringing a little bit of intrigue. So the next day the queens go back into the workroom and RuPaul announces that this week is the ball. So there are 3 categories and one of which the queens have to make an outfit from scratch. So look number 1, the category is Boss Lady in Charge. Category number 2 is She-Vul Villain. And then category number 3, which is the self-made outfit, is International Queen of Mystery. So the queens get to work working on their outfits and talking about what they're going to do and the different designs and things like that, and it's quite standard. We've come to expect this in pretty much every single design challenge. One thing I thought was funny, and this ties in with what I said earlier, was during the walkthroughs when Tessa basically just called out Alyssa Edwards. I thought that was just so funny, and it really shows, I think, Tessa, I can't tell if she's doing this deliberately to make good TV or whether that's just her actual personality, but I'm really liking this vibe that she's got with Alyssa Edwards, because Alyssa is almost acting a bit like a mother figure with her sort of cheeky daughter, and I just really like the way that those two are bouncing off each other. Not much else happened, so I'm just going to go straight to the looks because there are a lot of looks to get through. As usual, I'm not going to give my opinions on each of them, and it also would just take too long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each look, but for each category, I'm going to pick out which was my favourite from the entire category. Okay, so category 1 is Boss Lady in Charge. First up, we had Pythia, who said she is voyeurism and she is the head of the spy agency. Next, we had Eva LaQueen. She said her name is Lady Orchid. I know nothing about espionage, but I'm good at making fake accents and lasagna. Next, we had Queen Kong. She said her codename is Chocolate Thunder from Down Under, and she is the HBIC of Tuck Around and Find Out. Then we had Atina Lekas, and she said normally a CEO wears a suit and hers is so well done, it's fashion and a bit deconstructed, which is a representation of her drag. Then we had Kitty Scott Claus, and she said being an international style and fashion guru is just her alias, and she's really the head of MI 12.5 and a master of disguise. Then we had Miranda. She said she is Miranda San Diego, the boss of Nonsense International Information Spies. And she's here to keep an eye on hot nudes, bank info, and election interference. Then we had Nelenia. She said she is Maria Rosa Carbonara. She's the head of the international organization PASTA, professional agency of spice, talent, and amazing baby. Then we had Alyssa Edwards. She said her sole mission as the CEO of the secret spy agency is to protect our future before we self-destruct. Then we had Vanity Vane. She said, V Vane is my name, always dressed in black, highest heels I can find, and with an attitude you cannot buy. Then we had Soa de Muse. She said she's Velma, the head of the international organisation BTM, aka Bottom. Then we had Gala Barro. She said she's Dr. Barro, the head spy of Gorgeous Drag Queens Agency, and she's here to develop a cure against ugliness and bad fashion. Then we had Tessa Testicle. She said her name is Ivana Hump. She said, my mission is missionary, my instinct sharp as dagger. For this particular category, my favourite was between Pythia and also Alyssa Edwards. Pythia just looked so good. I loved the silhouette of it and the cameras in the hair. It was just really well made. And then for Alyssa's, I thought it was quirky and something different with the kind of LED screens and the more 3D element to it. So I found it quite difficult to decide between the two because I thought they were both really cool looks, but in different ways. Then we had category number 2, which was She-Ville Villain. First up we had Pythia, and she said her evil plan is to dissolve all fillers and Botox so she can finally expose Brooklyn Heights' real face. Then we had Eva La Queen. She said her name is Reptilia, and she was accidentally sent to the Amazon and was raised by crocodiles. Then we had Queen Kong. She said her evil plan is to allure innocent men with the essence of her fragrant bush. Then we had Atina Lekas. She said her name is Aphrodite, the villain, who's here to control all the men by seducing them with her siren song. Then we had Kitty Scott Claus. She said this is Barbarella gone bad, and she's going to take over the world with these flaming tig old bitties. Then we had Miranda. She said her name is Deep Throat, and she's going to eat it all, and she's definitely serving face. Then we had Nilenia. She is Ostina Powerbottom, and she's a phony baby, yeah. And just while we're talking about this look, I did see on social media that someone posted saying that those red spikes on her outfit actually inflate on the runway, but they cut out that part of the reveal and didn't show it, which is a bit weird. And they showed a video of how it works, and apparently it works with body motion and they inflate as you walk. Anyway, moving on, and the next was Alyssa Edwards. And she said she's the fallen dark swan out for revenge, and to the beast that stole her Swarovski tiara. Then we had Vanity Vane. She said she's the creature of the night, and that says it all. She's going to spike you, finger you, and she might eat you. Then we had Soa de Muse. She said her evil plan is to leave people gagged permanently. Then we had Gala Barro. She said her evil plan is to inject poison into every drag queen around the world to make them dumb and ugly. Then we had Tessa Testicle, and she said it is I, the fashion killer. My mission is to rid the world of cargo shorts and cliffhangers. For this category, I did also really like Alyssa Edwards. I thought it was just a very clean silhouette, and it did definitely give me vibes from season 5 when they did that musical number, but this is just the elevated version. I did also quite like Tessa's just because it had a reveal to it, because she came out and I really loved the red kind of trench coat look, and then she tore it off and it also looked great underneath. I did wonder whether the boobs were going to do anything because they kind of looked like they were going to light up, but I just thought it was quite a cool silhouette for both of them, and I thought the reveal added something extra to it. And then the final category, which was the self-made outfit category, which was International Queen of Mystery. So first was Pythia. She said that she's shocked that she managed to get this all done in that amount of time. The outfit fits her like a glove, it's squeaking and it's gleaming because it's perfect. And it's giving her the Britney Spears fantasy. Then we had Eva La Queen. She said the drapings are draping in all the right places, and she has a hand-sewn bustier, and she didn't hot glue anything. Then we had Queen Kong. She said she's feeling mysterious going down the runway, and the ponytail is so long and full, and she's proud that she made this look head to toe. Then we had Atina Lekas. She said she's giving very sexy spy undercover in a cocktail party, and she said the aesthetic is good, but the construction is not so nice. Then we had Kitty Scott Claus. She said she is Agent Kitty Scott Claus, and look at her, she's so cute and gorgeous as well as glam and sexy. Then we had Miranda. She said this is a reference from Daphne from Scooby-Doo, and she's proud about her face cover because she likes to cover herself up like a disguise. Then we had Nilenia. She said she's very proud of this because the shape of the body is on point, and the cape is flawless, and yes, she's a spy, but she's cute. Then we had Alyssa Edwards. She said the secret is officially out. The goddess of tongue pops is back again. Then we had Vanity Vane. She said she thinks she looks gorgeous and feels like such a sexy spy. And can you see it's like Anna Nicole Smith? Then we had Soa de Muse, and she said you have some green and some mechanic things, and this detail, with the lenses. And she tried to do her best, but at the same time she's proud that she made a dress. Then we had Galabaro. She said she's a dangerous lady, she made 4 pieces even though it was her 4th time ever sewing, so she's really proud of it. And then finally, we had Tessa Testicle. She said walking down this runway, it's a little rough around the edges, but from the back row, she looks good. In terms of this category, I think my favourite has to go to Pythia. It just was so amazingly well done. I think although it's a simple concept and it is something we've seen on the runway before, to me the fact that she made this and it just fit her so well and it looked so flawlessly made as if she had brought that from home, I think that to me was what really pushed it apart from all of the others, was just how well made it looked. So we have the judges' critiques and we can kind of figure out who's going to be tops and bottoms. And the one part of this episode I thought was quite funny was that when they came back for the untucked moment, Tessa was kind of saying that she thought that she might be in the top or she wasn't a flop. And I couldn't quite tell whether she was being delusional or whether she was doing it just to be funny because she was kind of laughing. And then Atina basically just said this look is a pile of crap, and I just thought it was so funny. And I just couldn't quite tell whether Tessa knew that it wasn't that great or whether it was just kind of delusion. But either way, I did love the drama and I thought at least it was something interesting to watch. So the queens come back to the runway and we find out that the winner is Pythia, and she wins a cash prize of $10,000. Then the bottom 2 are announced as Soa de Muse and Atina Leakis. The 2 of them lip sync to the song Bad Idea Right by Olivia Rodrigo. And Soa de Muse is announced as the winner of the lip sync, which means that sadly Atina Leakis is eliminated. Okay, so let's move on to the results of the Have Your Say poll. So question 1 was, who had the best look for the first category, which was Boss Lady in Charge? And we had 44% for Alyssa Edwards, 33.5% for Pythia, and then Miranda with 7.5%. And I guess I do have to agree, I really loved Alyssa's outfit. As I said, I thought the screens were really cool and it was very kind of interactive and something that was quite different, almost kind of Matrix vibes. It does come into what I think they kind of discussed in the workroom, that people were saying that some queens from certain countries have more drag at their disposal and also more money. Now, I'm not saying that that applies to Alyssa because I think she did look good here regardless, but obviously it does have to be said that you can tell some of the queens' outfits probably cost more than others and they probably have a bigger budget. So I think that is something that we do have to take into account. But still, this was a fabulous look from Alyssa, so I can see why she got the majority of this vote. Question 2 was who had the best look for the second category, which was She-Ville Villain. And we had 38.5% for Alyssa Edwards, 34.2% for Pythia, and then Tessa Testicle with 7.8%. As I said, I actually really liked Tessa's because I quite liked the reveal and it was something I wasn't necessarily expecting because we haven't seen her in anything like that so far. But I do have to agree that Pythia and Alyssa both looked great, and I do think that they kind of dominated this whole ball because both of them had great looks in pretty much every category. Question 3 was who had the best look for the third outfit, which was the self-made outfit, which was International Queen of Mystery. And with a staggering 82.3% was Pythia. And this was followed by Vanity Vane with 4.7% and Alyssa Edwards with 4.3%. And yeah, I agree. I think this was kind of obvious that Pythia was going to take this category. That outfit, as I said, was just so well made. Yes, it was kind of similar to things we've seen before and it was very Britney-like, but it was just so well constructed. The fact that she made it out of that material, which is not easy to work with, and it looks so professionally made, I think we do have to give props to that because that is what the challenge is about. Question 4 was, do you agree with the winner? And this was a pretty solid result with 91.3% for yes and 8.7% for no. Moving on to question 5, however, which was, do you agree with the bottom 2? And we had 79.5% for no and 20.5% for yes. So the majority of people said they did not agree with the bottom 2. And we'll get onto this when we talk about the comments, but I do have to agree, I did think the judging was a little bit off this week. I don't think that Atina should have been been in the bottom because I don't think her outfits were that bad. I didn't think her third look was the strongest, but I don't think it was as bad as they were making it out. But moving on to question 6, because that will give us some context to talk about this, which was, who would you have put in the bottom instead? And we had 39.1% for Kitty Scott-Claus, 29.8% for Tessa Testicle, and then 9.9% for Queen Kong. So from the looks of it, I think people were saying that they thought the bottom 2 should be Kitty and Tessa. I do really love Kitty, and obviously she's from the UK, I'm from the UK, so maybe there's just a kind of kinship between us. But I will say, I don't think she was the best this week. Her outfits, I don't think were up to par with everyone else's, unfortunately. So I would have to say, yes, I agree that I think Kitty should have been in the bottom. With Tessa Testicle, I think this mainly comes down to her final outfit, the self-made one, because I don't think her other 2 looks were bottom worthy. And I think, again, we've talked about this before, but it comes down to how you judge a ball, and do you judge it each look is a third of the points, or is the self-made outfit worth more points than the other 2 outfits brought from home? For me, I think this was quite difficult because I wasn't the biggest fan of Tessa's final look. As she said, it did have some problems with it. There were bits that weren't finished and it was quite lopsided and things like that. But I do want to give her credit for at least trying, and I think from a distance it could have been good, and it's just when you looked up close that you saw some of the problems. To me, it then comes down to, do you give someone credit for at least trying to do something different and trying to push themselves, but maybe not quite getting there? Or is it better to go really simple like some of the other queens and make sure that everything's finished, even if it's not necessarily the most exciting or elaborate look? So let me know in the comments what you think. Is it better to go simple and it to be finished? Or should we give credit for people for trying to be ambitious even if they don't quite hit the target? Question 7 was, who won the lip sync in your opinion? And we had 79.5% for Soa Demuse and 20.5% for Atina Likas. And I do have to agree, I think Soa captured the essence of the song a little bit more. Whether Atina should have been in the bottom to start with is a different story, but I will say I do think Soa won this lip sync because I think she really matched the vibe of the song a bit more than Atina did. But it was a decent lip sync and I think they both did a good job. And then finally, question 8 was, who is the front runner, or in other words, most likely to win the competition? And we had 79.5% for Alyssa Edwards, 10.6% for Pythia, and 3.4% for Queen Kong. This is quite an interesting result because I assume people are voting for Alyssa, maybe because, we'll get onto this in a minute in the comments, but a lot of people are saying they think that there's favoritism towards her because she's an American queen and obviously most of the judges are American. But I can see why people think overall she might win because she's a very multi-talented queen and she's really entertaining. Okay, so let's move on to the comments this week. And my Patreon member Kerry said, "It was a good episode, but I found myself very disappointed that Atina went home. I also thought Tessa should have lip-synced for her life. I do love Soa Demuse, but I really think the contestants should learn basic sewing/tacking/gluing. Memorize 1 or 2 pattern styles, know which fabrics to choose and which ones to leave to the professionals." And we'll get onto this in a minute, but there were a lot of comments talking about the fact that Atina went home and people were quite disappointed. And now moving on to the comments from the Have Your Say poll. Someone said, Queen and Kitty not being in the bottom just screams favouritism. Atina had no place in the bottom and Miranda and Tessa got such mixed critiques, it makes me wonder why they weren't just safe. Genuinely really upset with this judging. And there were a lot of comments about this. For example, someone else said, the favouritism of some queens like Kitty Scott-Claus and Alyssa Edwards is very obvious in this episode. And I think this just sums up pretty much what most of the comments this week were about. People were annoyed that Atina was in the bottom and that there was favouritism towards Kitty and Alyssa. And I do have to agree, there did seem to be some favouritism towards Alyssa. The way that Ru spoke to her, probably because Ru knows her quite well because she's judged her 2 times before. But I did think it kind of came across like she was talking to her in a different level, almost like she was a level above everyone else. So it did come across a little bit like favoritism, but also Alyssa is just extremely famous and well known, and I think the other queens also hold her to a different standard. So it's just kind of difficult to know whether there is favoritism or is it more just because Ru is familiar with her style of drag more because she's also from the US. But I do agree that I think Kitty probably should have been in the bottom this week. I don't think Queen should have been in the bottom though. I don't think her outfits were the best, but I don't think they were the worst either. So for me, she was somewhere in the middle. Someone also said that Tessa is giving fantastic TV, and I just wish that the episodes weren't so short. And this issue of the episodes being short was brought up by multiple people, and someone, for example, said, the episodes are too short, 45 minutes, 1 hour is the minimum, we miss a lot. And we've had this issue before on Drag Race. For example, you may remember on season 15, they shortened all of the episodes because of that TV show, The Real Friends of WeHo. And there was huge outrage about it. And then they eventually did go back to 1 hour long episodes, and they released backdated versions of the old episodes as the full length. And I do agree that 45 minutes is probably just a bit too short. We didn't get a lot of the storylines, the backstories, a lot of context. It did feel very rushed, especially with so many looks this week. I found it difficult to really get a good grasp of each outfit until I rewatched it and I was able to pause and really take in each look. And I did also kind of feel bad that Atina, when she was eliminated, didn't get the usual mirror message and all that kind of stuff. That was all cut out, and it did feel a little bit abrupt. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you like the fact that the episodes are shorter because it makes it snappier and it cuts out maybe some of the more non-essential things? Or do you think that 1 hour should be the minimum? Okay, so moving on to some drama on the back of this episode. As we saw, the fact that Atina Likis got eliminated was very controversial, and a lot of people felt that she shouldn't have been in the bottom to begin with, and there was a lot of favouritism. Well, someone who obviously agreed with this is Elvilda, who is the winner of Drag Race Belgique Season 2. So Elvilda posted an Instagram story that said, "What's the point of having a global all-stars season if you're going to judge every drag artist by American standards? Feels not correct to me. So all the love to my androgynous freaks, monsters, queer drag artists, your drag is valid. Love you to the moon and back at Atina Likis, you are the brightest star." And this issue came up a lot of people saying that it was unfair of Ru to make that critique about Atina and the feminization of her outfit, given that she is an androgynous queen. And Elvilda also shared a few other things in her Instagram story, and it was clips of a TikTok video by a content creator called Black Boy, who you may be familiar with. And in Black Boy's video, he gave his opinion on this week's elimination and why he felt that Atina's elimination was unfair. So I'll just play a couple of clips of his video for you.
And well, first things first, we could talk all day about how not a single look in this package is bottom worthy.
I think the issue I have with this outfit is because it's symmetric, it doesn't feminize your body enough.
This comment is an archaic and narrow-minded view of what drag is or could be. As in, this is a critique I thought we left in season 7. 9 years ago. There are so many drag artists across every franchise of Drag Race that have challenged the show to explore the boundaries of what drag could be.
And so it looks like Elvilda must also agree because she shared this in her stories. And I was made aware that the winner of Drag Race Belgique Season 1, which is Drag Queen, also tweeted about this, and she posted saying, "Last global all-star episode is," and then the poop emoji. And then at the bottom it says, "so unfair." And then she shared this photo saying, "Hi Ru, does it feminize my body enough?" And this critique that Ru said about not feminizing the body did then get a lot of traction on social media, and a lot of people were saying that it was a very antiquated critique from an earlier season. And the fact that both winners of Drag Race Belgique have both come out and talked about this shows that there is clearly some discontent for this type of critique. So let me know in the comments what you think about this. And finally, we're going to move on to a little bit of drama to do with Gottmik being blackmailed by some hackers. So you may remember that a few years ago, Gottmik got hacked on Twitter, and also so did a few other drag queens such as Selena S. Titties. And we know they got hacked because they started posting tweets talking about selling MacBooks and things like that. And Gottmik eventually managed to get her Twitter account back. But it looks like the same thing has happened again more recently with Gottmik. So the other day I noticed that Gottmik's Twitter account started posting lots of different posts saying that she was selling MacBook Pros. And it was quite obvious this was a scam, and all of the comments were switched off. And there were also a few other messages trying to make it look like these were bona fide tweets, even though they clearly weren't. For example, one of them said, FYI guys, if you text me, follow back and I'll buy the MacBook, I'm just going to ignore your message. If you're not serious about buying, then don't text me or I will block you. But then it seems like it took a slight turn because Gottmik then started posting on her Instagram instead saying that she was hacked, which seemed kind of obvious. But then Gottmik posted something a bit more alarming saying, the hackers are scaring me, lol, they got my number through my account. And she shared a screenshot of her Twitter, which has been hacked, and it looked like some messages had been sent to her by text, and it said, hi Gottmik, we can make a deal with you. And then there were a few missed calls, and it said, let me know when you're available. There were then even more messages and it said, a dream, let's make a deal. I don't have any business in the account anymore. If you want to get your account back, let's make a deal. Trust me, otherwise I will sell it to someone else. Don't worry, I won't hurt you, please answer. Then they used Gottmik's name out of drag, which is Cade, and then said, I will tell you cheap and good price. And I'm waiting for you to answer me. And we can see there were a couple more missed calls. And then it looks like the hacker must have seen that Gottmik was posting these receipts about these text messages. And Gottmik said he already saw, referring presumably to the hacker. And it looks like the hacker sent a screenshot of Gottmik's Instagram story where she was showing these receipts. And the hacker said, don't be afraid of me, I say I won't hurt you. And from these messages, we can see that the hacker was clearly trying to blackmail Gottmik and saying that they will give back the account if they can come to some kind of deal. And if they don't, then they're going to sell Gottmik's account to someone else. However, as of today, it looks like Gottmik may have got her Twitter account back because all of the posts about the MacBook are now gone. But the lock icon is still next to Gottmik's name, and usually people do that to say that the account is locked. So I'm not sure if Gottmik has got her account back again or whether the hacker just deleted those tweets. But I think this is just a great reminder to make sure that you're really careful with online security and passwords and things like that, because it's so easy for people just to get into your account. And I'm sure we all probably have some experience of this happening, so please just make sure you keep yourself safe online. So there you go, there was the Have Your Say video for Global All Stars Season 1 Episode 3. What do you think of Global All Stars so far? And do you think there really is favouritism with the judging? Let me know in the comments. And if you'd like to get early access to my videos as well as have your comments featured in my Have Your Say videos, please check out my Patreon and consider supporting me. It goes such a long way to helping support my channel and I really, really appreciate it. And I'll put a link to my Patreon in the description. I'd also like to say a massive thank you to all of my Patreon members who are amazing and support me every month. Thank you so much for being part of my Patreon. I really, really appreciate it and I really do love my Patreon community. You are all legends. If you liked this video, please remember to like and comment on the video to help tell the algorithm that this is a great video, and make sure you hit the subscribe button because it really does make such a big difference to my channel. Thank you for watching and I hope you'll join me again in future videos. Thank you, bye!